Wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Pakistan have cost this country $5.6 trillion since 2001. That's 3 times more than the Pentagon's estimates and forecasts, and that according to this new study from Brown University. Economist Joseph Stiglitz, by the way, wrote a book in 2008 entitled The $3 Trillion War. At the time, I told Stiglitz, a Nobel Prize winner in economics, that I didn't see how it could possibly reach that level. It almost doubled it. Amazing. 16 years later, and we still have not brought Afghanistan to resolution. I was wrong, Joe. Sorry about that. Joining me now, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, Senior Fellow at the London Center for Policy Research, and it's great to have you with us.
Hey, Lou, thanks for having me. Good to be on.
Let's start with one of the most important purposes of the president's trip, and that is to assure cooperation and support from Xi Jinping in the effort to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula. How do you think that's going, and what are the prospects in your judgment?
Well, I like the way you opened regarding the cost. Look, we've made great investments in Japan and their prosperity, and South Korea and their prosperity. That is being threatened by North Korea. And the Chinese have to understand, as you've talked about before, that there's going to be consequences to their neglect. And I'm being polite when I talk about that. So maybe we're looking at this thing a little bit incorrectly. Maybe we should look at how we can use North Korea to get China's attention. Look, it's great the president's there. Apparently he visited the Forbidden City the first time ever a Western leader's been allowed to do that. That's a sign of respect. But that's not good enough. We need to have an understanding that beyond North Korea, we have to deal with China. China is a growing power. They've had designs on influence throughout the Pacific Rim, probably the world. And so I think we have to look at
North Korea, after all, is the creation of China.
Right. And so I think we need to look at a way of maybe not so much having China leverage North Korea. Let's see how we can use North Korea to leverage China.
Well, that's an interesting idea in the abstract. It seems to me to be extraordinarily difficult to actually come up with a plan that's concrete and practicable. What would you suggest?
Well, like the Reagan White House, White House sat down. I've talked to Bing West. I've talked to Bud McFarlane. They had to come up with a plan to destabilize the Soviet Union. So I know that in these abstract concepts...
So you're drawing a parallel between China and the old Soviet Union.
Old Soviet Union, absolutely. So Bud McFarlane and company had to come up with a plan to do some of these very difficult things by touching on the outlying issues to get at the heart of the Soviet Union. So I don't have the answer, Lou, but I'm saying that there's a roadmap that's worked in the past that maybe we ought to kind of dust off, bring back some of the folks who built that plan, and look at how we could maybe modify it and modernize it for purposes of trying to help get us ahead of China. I think that's the idea we should be focused on.